The president and CEO of Saab, Mikael Johansson, confirmed he's talked with Ottawa about making Gripens in Canada.
We, as Saab, we are prepared to do that technology transfer to Canada and support that build-up.
What happens if Canada doesn't just buy the Gripen but becomes a NATO manufacturing hub for it? What happens if Canadian factories start producing fighters for Europe, for NATO allies, and maybe even for countries trying to escape US dependence? That's when this stops being a procurement story. That's when it becomes a strategic nightmare for the Pentagon. What if the real disruption comes from a quiet, polite country just north of the US border? Because if Canada starts building Gripen fighter jets for NATO, this isn't just a defense contract. This is a $20 billion earthquake. This is a direct challenge to US military-industrial power. This is a moment that could rewrite NATO's air power balance. And Washington is watching this very carefully. Because this scenario doesn't just change who builds fighter jets. It changes who controls NATO's future. Subscribe and stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why Canada building Gripens could quietly become one of the most dangerous shifts in modern defense politics. This isn't about one jet and one deal. And it definitely isn't about Canada saving money. This is about power, leverage, sovereignty, and control. Because fighter jets are not just machines. They are political weapons. And whoever builds them controls the rules. Canada has always played a strange role in NATO. Not the loudest, not the most aggressive, not the biggest spender, but always present, always reliable, always geographically critical. Canada guards the northern approach to North America. Canada anchors NORAD. Canada sits between Europe and the US. And Canada has something most countries don't: political credibility without imperial baggage. That matters, because when Canada makes a move, it doesn't look threatening. It looks reasonable. And that's exactly what makes it dangerous. Now let's talk about the aircraft at the center of this storm. The Saab JS-39 Gripen. On paper, it's smaller than the F-35, cheaper, less stealthy. So why does it keep terrifying Washington? Because Gripen represents something the US defense industry hates: independence. Gripen was designed to operate from highways, to be maintained by small crews, to run without massive US-style logistics chains. And most importantly, Gripen doesn't come with political handcuffs. When a country buys American fighters, it doesn't just buy hardware. It buys software locks, data pipelines, mission approval dependencies, upgrade, permissions, export restrictions, and long-term political alignment. With the F-35, the US doesn't just sell a jet. It keeps the keys. Gripen is different. And if Canada builds it, the control shifts. If Canada builds Gripens domestically, not just for itself, but for NATO partners, we are not talking about a $2 or $3 billion deal. We are talking about manufacturing plants, supply chains, engine work, avionics, maintenance hubs, upgrades, training systems, over 20 to 30 years. That's $20 billion or more. And every dollar not going to Lockheed Martin is a dollar Washington notices. Here's the twist most people miss. Europe already uses Gripen. So why Canada? Because Canada offers something Europe can't: proximity to the US market, access to North American suppliers, NATO credibility without EU politics, a trusted industrial base, and insulation from European internal rivalries. A Canadian-built Gripen isn't anti-American, it's post-American. And that distinction matters. The F-35's biggest fear is maintenance, software updates, weapons integration, data access. But Gripen breaks that model. And if Canada proves you can build fighters domestically, customize systems, maintain sovereignty, still stay NATO compliant, then suddenly, other countries start asking dangerous questions. Picture this: Canada builds Gripens. Then a NATO country says, why can't we get ours assembled there too? Then another. Then another. Suddenly, Lockheed Martin isn't the default choice anymore. Suddenly, competition exists. You'll never hear the Pentagon say this out loud. They'll talk about interoperability. They'll talk about fifth-generation requirements. They'll talk about security concerns. But behind closed doors, the fear is simpler: precedent. If Canada can do this, others will try. For decades, Canada outsourced its defense manufacturing. This changes that. Gripen production means skilled labor, aerospace sovereignty, export leverage, long-term technological growth. This isn't just defense policy, it's industrial rebirth. And Washington knows that once Canada builds this capability, it never fully goes away. Here's what no one tells you. Inside NATO, there is a silent divide, not East versus West, not Europe versus America, but dependence versus autonomy. Some countries are tired of asking permission, and Gripen represents a path out. Canada making that path legitimate? That's explosive. If Canada becomes a Gripen hub, the message is clear: you can be NATO-aligned without being US-controlled. That message travels fast, and Washington's leverage weakens. This is why the story feels quiet. Notice something? There are no dramatic headlines, no emergency summits, no public threats, because the most dangerous shifts in power never announce themselves. They normalize quietly. And by the time everyone realizes what happened, it's already irreversible. If this happens, NATO becomes less centralized. US defense dominance faces its first real alternative. Canada transforms from buyer to builder. Gripen gains legitimacy at scale. And Washington loses its monopoly leverage, not overnight, but permanently. So the real question isn't, will Canada build Gripens? The real question is the US ready for a NATO where it no longer controls the skies by default? Because once Canada proves this model works, there's no going back. This isn't about jets. This is about who sets the rules of power in the 21st century. And if Canada builds Gripens for NATO, the shock won't come with an explosion. It will come with a factory opening. Some critics argue F-35 is better for NATO interoperability, but the reality is nuanced. Gripen is fully NATO-compatible, with secure data links, advanced communication systems, and multi-role capabilities. Countries like the Czech Republic and Hungary operate Gripen within NATO exercises seamlessly. Gripen's modularity allows Canada to customize its integration based on strategic priorities rather than being forced to adopt a one-size-fits-all US system. In short, you get all the interoperability without losing sovereignty, so Canada could operate with allies, defend its territory, and still make independent decisions on upgrades, weapons, and mission priorities. Buying Gripen isn't just a defense decision, it's a political and industrial opportunity. Saab offers co-production and technology transfer deals, allowing Canada to manufacture components locally, train engineers, and create high-skilled jobs. Compare that to the F-35. Most of the industrial benefits remain in the US, with Canada largely limited to minor maintenance or retrofit contracts. Gripen, on the other hand, could generate thousands of skilled aerospace jobs, boost local R&D, and stimulate technology innovation. And it's not just about jobs. Technology transfers mean Canada can develop domestic expertise in radar, avionics, and weapons systems knowledge that pays dividends long after jets leave the assembly line. In an era where defense industries define national sovereignty, investing in Gripen is investing in Canada itself. Defense spending should strengthen your nation, not just fund someone else's economy. Gripen does exactly that. Gripen choice sends a message. Canada values practicality, sovereignty, and smart defense spending. Politically, this can translate to bipartisan support and public approval, something the F-35 rarely enjoys given its sky-high price tag. Choosing Gripen isn't just a military decision, it's a political statement about independence and national priorities.